We'll be right back with a quick message from one of our sponsors. I get asked quite a bit how John and I went about spinning up a podcast so quick. We use an application or a platform called Anchor. It has the tools that allow you to upload and record your podcast right from your phone or your computer. I've done both, and they're really quick and simple to use. When hosting a podcast on Anchor, you can distribute it quickly on various platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, and Pocket Cast. It has everything you need all in one place, and best of all, it's completely free. Download the Anchor app from your Play Store or your Apple Store, or go to anchor.fm to get started today. What's up, everybody? Welcome to After the Final Whistle, football talk with Jon and Montel.
This is episode 5 of After the Final Whistle, football talk with Jon and Montel. I'm Montel. My co-host is Jon. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well. How about you today, sir?
Hey, man, I'm off on Friday, so I can't be doing bad on an off day.
There we go.
Yes, sir. What you got for the injury report?
So injuries, some notable ones. Looks like Joe Burrow with that throat contusion. That man got rocked in that game against the Packers. Glad to just hear he's doing okay. We also have Russell Wilson, torn ligament and fracture in his throwing hand, on his middle finger, but it seems like he had surgery end of last week and has already started rehab. So 4 to 8 weeks is the time frame I'm hearing. Um, Christian McCaffrey is still dealing with that hamstring injury, so it doesn't seem like he's going to be in this week. He's still not practicing. Um, we had Dalvin Cook, it seems like, come back, so that's good news for your Vikings.
It is. It'd be better if he wasn't made of glass.
True, true. Justin Jefferson has been banged up. Seems like Julio Jones and both AJ Brown have been practicing, so start both of those players if you wanted to this week. But the Tyreek Hill has not been practicing, and then George Kittle got put on IR, so keep an eye on those people.
Oh, is Kittle IR to return, or he done for the season?
Still dealing with that calf. I think it's the calf. They put him on IR, so designated to return after that 3 week wait.
Not too bad. Not like it's horrible, awful for him.
Yeah.
I think it's also good news McCaffrey's not playing because yeah, we give up a lot of things short, and that's the last thing I need is a pass catching back out of the backfield torching my Vikings this weekend.
Exactly. Um, I know it's not an injury, but I don't have any updated info on Calvin Ridley. Not traveling with the team to London last week due to personal issues. Samaje Perine was and Dallas Goddard are both put on the COVID uh, list. So Perine tested positive like right after the game is when the test came back. So keep an eye on that.
Isn't that silly? You let the guy play the game, he tests positive, but there's no like it doesn't say there's like any real like contact tracing. You play a contact sport and someone tests positive for COVID and you don't really hear anything else after that player tests positive. You don't hear anything about the other players needing to quarantine or anything like that. It just seems that they'll make teammates quarantine, but not like opponents is what it sounds like. I haven't heard anything. I heard about P. Ryan testing positive, but I didn't hear anybody from the Packers having to do the same in terms of quarantine. Have you?
I have not. I have not. And then last little bit of injury news I have. Seems like Tua is on the verge of coming back from those broken ribs. So next week or two, well, I guess it'd be week or three since they're the London game this week, and then they got the bye next.
Yeah, I think they said he was practicing this week, so that's good for him. I know he took a hard shot a few weeks ago, and me personally, I've never played quarterback, but I have been hit pretty hard, so I can only imagine a 250-pound man hitting the old Goldberg special on you, you know. So,
Exactly. But yeah, that's all the injuries that I have. What do you have for news?
well, Leo Collins of the Cowboys, he had his appeal turned down again for his 5-game suspension. He won't suit up this Sunday. So I don't know if you've been following the story with this. So he originally had a 2-game suspension for failing the drug test. He appealed it. The league did some investigation, and it turns out he tried to bribe the person that was collecting his specimen at the collection site, and he got his appeal, not appeal, his suspension extended to 5 games, and he's appealed it twice now and has failed both times. So he's only got a game left to go. So he's a nice, solid right tackle, but kind of an idiot. I don't know if I would be brave enough to bribe someone. I guess it's your job. Your job's randomly drug testing you. You probably shouldn't bribe the person that they paid to do that. Kind of dumb, immature.
Yeah. I mean, Cowboys have been looking pretty solid without him. So we'll see what they look like when he gets back. I mean, it should only help that offensive
Yeah,
line, but
yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, Cowboys have drafted well in their offensive line, so adding more to what was already like the strength of the team. Not a Cowboys fan at all, but I can appreciate good line play, and they had a good line for damn near a decade. So I can appreciate good football like that. Next bit of news I got is I just want to clap it up here for Lamar Jackson on being named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. And I say that because apparently the Ravens had 523 total yards of offense. He accounted for 499 of them.
I was about to say, did he account for all 532?
Yeah, damn near, yeah. So he went 37 for 43 for 442 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Also had 14 rushes for 62 yards. Now, some of you might be asking how that doesn't add up. He took a sack or two and lost some yards on there. So he has won AFC Offensive Player of the Week 8 times since 2018. Unreal. It's like
Right.
dude is on another level. You know, it's like playing a video game.
Yep.
And
using his own and using his own words, not bad for a running back.
Right, not bad for a running back. Throw, Lamar Jackson, he's I'll say it's one of the better young quarterbacks in the NFL. So bravo, man. That's a hell of a performance. You missed 6 passes. I can't replicate that in Madden, my guy. I'd probably be like 20 for 40, 250 yards, 4 touchdowns, and like 7 picks. That's the way I play Madden. So yeah, good job, man. I couldn't help but give that man some props and praise.
Yeah. So, congrats to him. Well deserved.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, I've got is apparently it was a historically bad week for kicking in the NFL. 13 missed extra points. That's the most since Week 11 in 1987. And I'm gonna sidebar here a little bit. the Packers had some pretty bad luck with the kicker this weekend, didn't they?
Can we just not talk about it? I mean, they weren't the only ones in that game, but
No,
like
but
five or six missed field goals in the last quarter and overtime.
for just in the Bengals Packers game.
Just in the Bengals Packers game.
Okay, we'll talk about it a little bit more when we talk about our scores, I guess. But yeah, I'll say this: our kicker had a semi decent week, 2 for 3, bangs a 55-yarder, is 5 yards short on a 49-yarder, hits a 54-yarder to win the game. So I really don't know. It's so unpredictable week to week being an NFL kicker. Next I got is I don't know if you've kind of heard anything about Kirk Cousins viciously assaulting a 60-year-old man after they won their game last Sunday. So apparently, late in the game, Kirk's got 37 seconds to pretty much get about 50 yards, get in the field goal range. A couple quick passes to Thielen, and I think Osborne caught another pass, but he clocks it. Our kicker, bangs that 54-yarder in, and he freaking grabs Mike Zimmer by the collar and shakes him. And the security guy that was on the sideline thought that they were fighting, and he pulled Zimmer away from Kirk as they were what looks like coming to blows. But Kirk apparently was just saying, "Hey man, you like that?" So that's he's just a nerd. That's his thing. It's just kind of hilarious. So, I'll send you the video maybe later after we get done recording. But you'll probably be like, "What the hell is this dude doing?" You'll give that old man a freaking heart attack.
Oh Lord, no! This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, you'll get a kick out of it. I guess this next part, I'm gonna put a bit of a trigger warning on this. We're gonna be talking about some of the comments made by Jon Gruden. So if you want to skip past this part, be my guest. We'll try to limit it to about 4 or 5 minutes. So that should put you at about 17 or 18 minutes into the podcast. So we'll kick it off by talking about Jon Gruden. Some of the things that were said by Jon Gruden, and these are going to be direct quotes. They don't reflect me or Jon's views. He called Roger Goodell a quote-unquote faggot and a clueless person who ain't a clueless football pussy. In reference to Michael Sam, he told Jeff Fisher after the NFL allegedly pressured Jeff Fisher into drafting Michael Sam that he shouldn't draft any queers on his team. In reference to DeMaurice Smith, the NFLPA executive director, he called him Dumb Boris Smith and said he had lips the size of Michelin tires. The only fallout so far is Gruden has apparently stepped down as head coach for the Raiders. He got removed from the Buccaneers Ring of Honor. Some of you all know he won a Super Bowl about 20 years ago. I will say this. With him resigning, I don't feel like it was, I guess, a necessary move. Well, let me rephrase. It was a necessary move for the contract he signed. So he signed like a 10-year, $100 million contract. And if the Raiders would have fired him, they would have had to pay that out. But if he resigns, he doesn't have to recoup any of that money. I know it's a tough subject, Jon. You got any further comments about it? We got about 3.5 minutes we got left. We can talk about it so our listeners can scroll through it if they like.
Right. I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for words. Disgusted as well. I mean, yeah, he's done in the NFL. And then today I heard that there's some news about possibly Adam Schefter somewhat being involved in all of this, but that's still, I guess, coming out. So I just don't know much about that. So put an asterisk beside that. He may or may not, but um, I mean, yeah, I get that you think those things are not going to become public, but anything you put out there on the internet, email, it's there. Um, but just I really don't have any words. I mean, he deserved more, I feel, but he shouldn't be involved in any aspect of the league football on any level whatsoever.
I'm with you there. And I think as far as like league partners like ESPN, ABC, NBC, all those different kind of avenues, I feel like you can only do justice, not letting him call games and stuff like that, because the Raiders actually have a openly gay player on their team, Carl Nassib, who actually was forced to take like a personal day because he didn't feel the need to field all the questions from the media. I reckon it would probably be like me as a black person having to be the spokesperson for my entire like community, and that's not him. Dude. He just wants to be left alone. So I mean, I get it. He's made Gruden's kind of screw the pooch here and created quite the shit show that has to be cleaned up.
Yeah. Last few things I'll say on this is I feel like the Raiders knew something was going to happen after that pitiful performance against the Bears where they only scored 9 points.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're not calling for people to go and harass anybody on whatever side of the fence you fall on. So respect people's privacy and just respect people in general. But the world we live in, that's easier said than done.
Right, and we got about 20 seconds, so I'm going to end it with this. Um, the league apparently let the Raiders know that they had this stuff on Thursday or Friday of last week. So they let them coach a game, and they weren't going to do anything until their hand was forced. But we're going to, like I said, we're going to leave it there. We're at the 19-minute mark on our recording, and we'll move on to how did our fantasy teams do. How'd you do this week in fantasy, John?
Once again, came down to another Monday Night Miracle. Needed the Ravens defense to score like 6 or less points to win in the money league, and they scored 0. And then, yeah, they scored 0 points on the defensive side of the ball. The Ravens did this week. And then, sorry that I had to beat you again, back-to-back weeks.
Yes, beat me like a orphan child with red hair, but that's fine.
But you know, there's always next time, which is about 4 or 5 weeks down the road. In the money league, we got each other again.
Oh, cool! I'll avenge myself.
Yeah, after what you did, I'm terrified.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the money league. So if anyone's been tuning in for the past 5 weeks, I was bitching about losing 180 to like 100 or something like week one. I actually, which at the time that was like the highest score scored in the league. A couple weeks later, I scored the second highest score, which was like 187. This week, I scored 223, and my opponent scored 120. He got so pissed that he actually sent some communication to our commissioner that it was unfair and there was some chicanery going on. But yeah, I was happy about that. Hopefully, I have another good week this week. I've got A lot of players questionable. 4, in fact, and then 4 on buys. So I really am struggling with depth here right now. So, and like John said in the league we play for free, our fun league, that he beat me, and yeah, I made some bad decisions. Mainly being sitting Justin Herbert, who scored 47 points, and I lost by like 30. So,
I
you
will
know,
say the reason why I won both leagues is because you and my opponent in the money league both set Justin Herbert. So thank you.
well, I didn't expect a freaking shootout. You know what I mean? It's freaking San Diego and the damn in Cleveland. Cleveland scored like 14 points the week before. I didn't think they were gonna put up damn near 50. So that's why I was like, I'll sit down, I'll sit him, and I'll try out Daniel Jones, who apparently got freaking concussed in like the second damn quarter. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop and move on because if I don't, I'll get on a rant. And yeah, I'm not this week. Nope, I'm not doing it this week. So we'll move on to some of our predictions from last week. Your record for last week was 2-1. I think it's a clone of last week too, right? Weren't you 2-1 last week?
I was 2-1 last week as well.
Okay. Overall, it's 8-3. You predicted that the Ravens would beat the Colts 24-10. They won 31-25, so you get that one. Let's see. Hold on just a second. I need to fix that. There we go. You predicted the Browns would win 17-14. They actually lost 47-42. You
Yeah, I
predict
did not see that one coming at
I
all.
I did not expect a shootout, especially with Baker being hurt like he was. Like he looked horrible the week last week against the Vikings. So I didn't think he'd have the arm strength to throw enough passes to get to 40 plus points.
Well, yeah, and then like think about it. No matter if you are the Chargers or the Browns, I mean, you put up 40 plus points and lose, like that's that's a defensive fix that needs to happen like quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Oh, if it was Madden, I'd probably fire the coordinator like mid-season, but I'm just petty. That's really what it boils down to. Your last game was Packers and Bengals. You predicted the Packers would win 28-24. You're pretty close. Packers won 25-22. I don't even know how the hell you score 22 if you're the Bengals, but we were talking last week about not sleeping on the Bengals because I got to watch them blow up week one, you know. So yeah, they're apparently I think they're what 2-3. So they've got the same record as a lot of the teams. Like I think the Patriots have one, the Steelers, Seahawks. They're all 2-3. Nobody probably imagined in their wildest dreams that the Bengals and the Seahawks, Steelers, etc. would have a similar record. So, no, playoff team. I don't know. Who knows? But I think they're
We'll see.
I think they're decent, more decent than I gave them credit for, and I'm sure they, like I said last week, that anybody with any common sense probably gave them at the beginning of the season. So
Yeah.
I went 1-2, overall 4-7. I'm not doing good at all. I predicted Buffalo would lose 28-31 to the Chiefs. They won 38-20. I was on the Raiders bandwagon. I said the Bears would lose 10-27. They won 20-9. And I predicted the Vikings would win 34-14. They won 19-17. We both did some bonus predictions about the Jets Falcons, and we didn't really count it towards our record. John predicted Jets 7, Falcons 14. I predicted Jets 21, Falcons 20. The Jets end up losing 20-27. So I guess neither one of us gave them quite the credit that those teams deserved. So
No, just I was not expecting the Falcons to do much because of all of the
they haven't. That's the thing.
offensive side of the ball issues they were having just with players not being there. But
Right.
Pitts balled out. Cordero being Cordero. Even Mike Davis had a good game.
Cordell, he's like one of the only players. He's like the second player since I've been playing fantasy that has the running back, wide receiver like designation. Not flex, but he's listed on ESPN as a wide receiver, running back. So yeah, he's a weapon. I wish the Vikings would have done more with him when he was with them, but I was almost 6 years ago he was gone. So happy for him. He's shining. I know he's a star that I thought he could be.
Yeah. Before we move on, are the Bills legit, and what the hell is going on with the Chiefs?
Are the Bills legit, and what is going on with the Chiefs? I think the Bills are legit. I think right now they're probably like the 1A team in the AFC, with the other one probably being the Ravens being 1B. But I think they're legit, and I really can't tell you what's going on with the Chiefs, man. Like it's almost like Mahomes has like the Madden curse, but he had that a couple years ago when he got hurt. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
I think the Bills might go all the way because they got smacked in the mouth week 1, and that was a wake up call, and they've just been balling out since. And the Chiefs, it's like they don't have much of an offense, it seems like, and their defense can't stop anything at any position. So I don't know.
My favorite saying is that the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed with the tampon.
And right now that seems to be the case because they can't stop the running back, they can't stop the passing game, they can't score enough points to keep up with anybody. The offense is doing what they can, but when you have a defense that can't stop anybody.
Yeah, you can't put up 40 and give up 40 and expect to win many games in this league.
No. So, I'm feeling pretty confident about the Super Bowl prediction on the AFC side of things, but the NFC side.
Yeah, the NFC side is. I'll say this, and you being a fan of an NFC team too, the NFC is from top to bottom is a better conference than the AFC. The AFC is always like super top heavy, and it's always like the same like 7 or 8 teams that make the playoffs, right? But with the AFC, with the NFC, you could have anywhere between like 8 and 12 teams fighting for a playoff spot deep into the season. With the AFC, it's pretty much locked up like midway through the season. You know who the contenders are and who the pretenders are, and that's not the case for the NFC.
I can agree with that. There's always on the NFC side of things like the same 2-3 teams. They you feel pretty confident making it to the playoffs. So we'll see if the Chiefs can right that ship. But each week that passes, it's like I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, no, I'm still sticking with the Bills Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I went Bills Chiefs, and I might be rethinking the Chiefs half of it.
No, Chiefs can't go if the Bills go. They're both in the AFC.
Oh yeah, I think I said I don't remember who my predictions were then, but
It'd be interesting. I wish. I mean, you say that, but I really do wish the NFL just do like you do in college football and high school. Let the best teams fight it out regardless of conference. Kind of makes more sense, but I don't know nothing. I'm just a dude who watches football and yells at it when my team does bad. So
yeah, same. And I get confused by which teams are in which conference sometimes.
No, you're good. I literally, I just got off Madden like 2 hours ago, so I was scrolling through and saw that's kind of cheating for me.
All right. So shall we get on to this week's?
Yeah, well, yeah. What you got? I think you got Chiefs at let me get this right. Washington football team, Cardinals at Browns, and Packers at Bears. What you want to kick it off with?
I'll start off at the top. I'm calling the upset. Well, I'm not even going to say it's an upset anymore. I'm taking the Washington football team over the Chiefs. I'm going to say 33-27.
33 to. Oh shoot. Okay, yeah, I'll fix it. 33. Okay, I can see it. I mean, the the I want to say Redskins so bad, but we can't say it. The Washington football team. They have probably one of the better front sevens you'll find, and even with like inept quarterback play, their defense usually keeps them in games. So I don't know, kind of like what you said, what's going on with the Chiefs, but they need to get it together quick if they want to make a playoff run.
Yeah, and then I have the Cardinals at second team again.
Cardinals at Browns.
I want to say Cardinals are going to end up winning it. They got. I think they're still going to stay undefeated. So they got too many offensive weapons. You know what? Let's say 42-35.
Good. Okay, I thought you were about to say 42-3. I was like, good God.
No, high scoring game.
Like you said, a win, not a complete massacre. Good God. Okay.
Then Packers versus the Bears. Gonna go with the Packers.
Bears.
I mean, we got Randall Cobb back, who is nicknamed the Bear Killer.
The Lava King Killer. What are you talking about?
The Bear Killer, because it seems like he balls out every time he plays against the Bears. And
he's done that to a lot of teams.
Then, I mean, I think Jalen Smith will be in the game, so that defense just each week seems to be finding its feet a little bit more. So I'm going to say, you know what, let's say 28-10.
28-10. Okay. I mean, black and blue division. I can see that. And honestly, it's at Chicago. If the Bears had a more competent quarterback, which I mean, Fields a rookie. I mean, what can you do, dude? He's a rookie. The game would probably be, a little closer. But I think Rodgers is on a mission to prove that Green Bay screwed up by drafting a quarterback instead of like some actual offensive weapons a couple years ago. So yeah, I think he might score every touchdown that they have. Roger,
Yeah, but let's be honest. Yes, the Bears have a rookie quarterback, but if they had a competent head coach.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you know my story with Matt Nagy. He's completely like okay. I'm not doing it. You're not gonna, sir. You won't gaslight me this week into talking bad about Matt Nagy, who is complete garbage.
Matt Nagy, come on, man. We all know he's just been lucky.
God, now I have to do it. Okay. Now I have to do it. Okay. The only reason he has been a competent head coach is one, they traded for Khalil Mack. Two, they got really lucky with Akeem Hicks in free agency, blowing up like he did. And then Roquan Smith being like a freaking all pro his rookie season till now. Yeah, luckiest effing coach in the league. I'm done. No, that's all I'm gonna say.
Aw, I'm disappointed. I was expecting it to be longer.
No, I no, I want it to be so bad, but I'm fighting it internally. I'm just gonna move straight into my scores now. Um, I've got Raiders at Broncos, Cowboys at Patriots, Vikings at Panthers. As I'm talking, I just feel irritated now. So,
Then my job
I
is done.
think. I mean, fair enough. I mean, it's like a full-time job, you know. Raiders at Broncos. I think there's just too much controversy now with the Raiders. Don't think they'll be focused. I love Teddy Two Gloves, so I'm gonna say Raiders 10, Broncos 24. And
I
this
can
is the
see that.
first week I've gone against the Raiders, by the way.
I can see that. Plus, uh, Teddy Two Gloves has been pretty solid for the Broncos. I mean,
Mm-hmm. I miss
when
him,
the
man.
backup is, and when the backup is Drew Lock, who we've seen can't run an offense. So he needs to just protect himself, stay healthy for the Broncos to continue the success they've had this year.
Yeah, and kind of like years past, their defense is carrying them. It's kind of that Belichick philosophy. We don't have to score a ton of points. We just have to score. I know this is dumb to say, more than you, and let our defense shoulder the load. So yeah, I think that'll be a I won't say a good game. It's AFC West matchup, but I think the Broncos won't even. They may not even give up 10, to be honest. So
We'll see.
yeah, we'll see. My next one, Cowboys at Patriots. Man, Dak is playing out of his freaking mind. Uh, but Belichick also is he's a defensive minded head coach, and he's
So my question, since we both know Belichick likes to take away your number one option,
mhm.
what is the number one option on the Cowboys?
The number one option on the Cowboys. It's probably going to be CD Lamb. I think they'll. I don't think the Patriots will respect that run game very much with Zeke, even though Zeke's a good running back. I think they'll probably play with more like 7 in the box. Probably play a lot of too high. They've just got way too many weapons. So I think
Yeah,
they'll probably double CD and put their best corner on Amari and make the Cowboys beat them with Zeke or maybe like I forget who the tight end is. The Dallas Goddard.
that's for the Eagles. There's Dalton Schultz and Mike
Yeah, Dalton
Jarwin,
Schultz. Thank you, Jarwin. Yeah,
and then you also
maybe.
can't forget Cedric Wilson, who's a pretty solid wide receiver 3. So I mean, as much as uh, they get made fun of, the Cowboys have a lot of offensive weapons, so it's going to be difficult. Plus,
Yeah,
Zeke hurting himself on the pylon? Question mark. Like,
yeah. He's an Ohio State guy, so not very smart. Yeah, I think it'll probably be Cowboys 27, Patriots 17. I just think Dak and Co will probably be too much, and Mac Jones, he's looked good, but I don't trust rookie quarterbacks, So I think
so
the go ahead.
Do you think Diggs is going to get like his 5th or 6th interception on the season in this game?
Probably get 5th, 6th, and 7th.
That man just knows how to play the ball in the air. But I guess when you're the brother of Stephon Diggs,
Yeah. So I'll talk about him a little bit. He as you know, he went to Alabama. He actually came to Alabama as a wide receiver, and Nick Saban told him he was going to switch to corner. So naturally, he called his brother Stephon, who was playing for the Vikings at the time, pretty much in tears that he was no longer going to be a playmaker at Alabama. I think it's worked out pretty good for him, don't you think? You think Nick Saban probably knew what the hell he was talking about?
I think it's worked out just fine for him. I
Right.
mean, it may not
And
be playmaking on the offensive side of the ball, but he's a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball, which is just as important.
right. And to be honest, like I know we don't talk about college football a lot on this podcast, but Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, where were you gonna get game at, bro? You
Right.
weren't gonna get any game time with every one of those dudes I just named within the last 3 years have gone in the first round in the NFL draft playing wide receiver. There's no way you would have gotten any game.
No. No.
And I guess my last prediction, I've got Vikings at Panthers. Panthers were on a nice little hot streak at the beginning of the season. They dropped 2. Vikings are 2-3, and I think the Panthers are 3-2. So Vikings are seeking to be 500, and the Panthers are seeking to stay above 500.
I mean, I'm not saying that he's the main point of the offense, but with McCaffrey, they were 3-0. Without him, they're 0-2.
Yeah, and that's kind of like when I'm wavering off here. The Vikings, we got a lot of weapons, and we have more than what they have, but uh, their defense is. I'd probably say we have a C tier defense. They probably have like an A tier defense. You know what I mean? And we don't do very good with these big D lines and stuff. We get thrown around quite a bit in the run game and stuff. Uh, I think the Vikings, if McCaffrey does not play, I think the Vikings will probably win this 24-17. If McCaffrey does play, I'm asked, and I drop another game in our game for funsies here. What did I say? 14 or 17?
You said 17.
17. Okay. Ah.
Should we do the London game again just for funds or no?
Yeah, I'm down, dude. I don't know who's playing. You kick it off.
It is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the
Oh
Miami
God,
Dolphins.
not again.
I'm telling you, London. I'm sorry. Like you get
You,
the teams that are the bottom of the barrel in the NFL. But
and what did
I
I
mean,
what did I say last week? I called them the freaking London Jaguars because they always freaking play in London.
yep. If not, man, I don't know. If Tua plays, it's probably gonna be the Dolphins. But Trevor Lawrence has actually looked pretty solid the past 2 weeks, and he's been like top 10 in fantasy the past 2 weeks too. So I mean, he's getting it done. Um, you know what? Just because I feel for him, I'm gonna say Jags get their first win. 26-20.
Okay, hold on, London. Dolphins 20. Sorry, I have to type this into the thing. You said Jags 26.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's John. Okay, so I'm with you. I don't know if Tua is going to play. I feel like I think his name is Brian Flores, the head coach for the Dolphins, is a lot more competent than what Urban Meyer is in the NFL. So I'm going to say Dolphins win this one 27-10, which I think that's fair. I mean, it seems like with them tanking, they might actually want to lose the game on purpose and make some high draft.
Who
And
knows?
at this rate, man,
Um,
I don't think the Jags go win. If the Jags lose to the Dolphins, they probably go winless this year.
I can see that. I don't know if you caught any of the game last week, but like in the stands, like there were people with jerseys for all 32 teams in it. So
They just love football, man.
th-
They
th-
just
they
they,
they they love their football over there.
they take your pick. You can't have the Dolphins. You can have the Jags.
And I just, could you imagine if they actually got some teams that were able to like fighting for a playoff spot instead of just fighting for 1 or 2 wins?
You know, I, I wish that they would flex like one good game over there, like mid-season. You know what I mean? If you got a team that's like, we'll say, 7-3 and 6-4, I'd much rather watch that than a 1-5 and 0 and what are they? Sorry, 1-4 and 0-5 team. So I
Yeah.
mean, we'll say like I would much rather, even as much as I hate like the Cowboys and the Saints, I'd much rather watch the Cowboys play the Saints over in London versus what they got the last 2 weeks. But yeah, I think it would be a good idea to get some better teams over there. I think part of the problem is I think uh, ownership has to like be in agreement to play over there because it is like a little cost prohibitive. It's going to cost a little bit more to get people to and fro.
Right.
I don't think the league covers all of that. I think it. For instance, I found out last week that players apparently have to pay for their own hotel rooms. They get taken out of their check. So,
Oh,
I,
geez. Okay. Yeah,
yeah, I thought that was kind of
that
shaky. So I don't know about travel.
like that kind of makes it a little bit worse. I mean, they're getting teams that aren't doing too good. Uh, I mean, for the players, and then you got to pay for your own hotel room, and then like if you get any fines, you got to pay for that.
It's horse.
That's just a
It's
lot
it's,
to take in.
it's horse poop. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it'll get better. Let me ask you this because we're talking about it. Out of Mexico City, Vancouver, and London, which city do you think is most likely to get a team first? And it could be an expansion team or a team can relocate from somewhere.
Well, aren't the Jags like trying to relocate to London? Or I thought I heard that a few years ago. Like that's why they have so many games over there.
I don't,
Maybe I'm just
know if it,
misremembering.
I don't know if it was a try or if it was just a deal they struck with the league because I think I think you get a slightly bigger like revenue split for that game or something like that if you play over in overseas like that.
Gotcha. Um, Out of the three, it I'd probably lean towards Vancouver first. Um, I mean, NBA has Toronto Raptors. I mean, NHL has quite a few teams up in Canada, and then even baseball, Toronto Blue Jays. So I could see Vancouver being probably towards the top of the list, if not at the top.
Interesting. I was going to say Mexico City, um, just because it's about the size of like the market, in terms of like the market, it's about the size of like a LA market. Um, Interesting. Yeah. Well, maybe if we do this in a couple of years when there's, because that I think they do want to eventually expand to like 34 or 36 teams, but it's just finding the markets for it. So
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, I mean, they're pretty much probably capped out of what they can make in the states nationally. So where do you go from there? International. So it's just trying to find the right fit, I'm sure.
right, and yeah, it'd be interesting. We'll see how it goes. You got anything else you want to cover before this episode's over?
Um, one last piece of injury news that I forgot to talk about. Saquon Barkley and his freak
Mm.
twisted ankle that swelled up like a balloon.
Dude, it looked like a effing softball. I thought he legit pulled a Dak Prescott.
So, like, durability issues with him? Because, I mean, outside of the first year or two, I don't think he's put in a full season.
Someone on Reddit said he's the Carson Wentz of the running back position, and I cried.
Oh. But the difference between Carson Wentz and Saquon is Carson will come back in on 2 sprained ankles. No different
Yeah,
positions. I mean, sprained ankle on a running back, you can't make the cuts, you can't do any of that. But and then Zeke hurting himself on the pylon at the touchdown,
yeah. I meant to
falling
ask
on
you
it.
what happened. Like, explain that to me.
So he was like, I guess from what I read, he was diving for the end zone, got pushed out, landed on the pylon with the camera in it on his back, and like I guess something in his back got hurt, set out for like 5 minutes, and then came back in and still ran for like 110 yards.
Well, I'll say kind of like a comment on that. With that being one of the more popular teams in the league, I'm talking about the Cowboys. They may or may not get rid of those pylon cams if someone actually gets hurt on them.
Right. I mean, I understand why they have it there, different camera angle and all that for reviews.
Put a
But
cameraman there, bums.
yeah, I mean, there's got to be a more safer way. It just, in a way, kind of reminded me a few years ago when Randall Cobb was mic'd up and like his lung got hurt or punctured or something like that because he was mic'd up.
Yep, and they so mic'd up. Some of the stuff is like great, but most of the time it's just dudes yelling. It to me, I would much rather like have a microphone just above the line of scrimmage so you can hear that stuff. I don't care about the mic'd up stuff. Kind of like you
Yeah.
said, it's dangerous and kind of unnecessary. It only exists for NFL films. I don't even think teams find any use in it. So.
Yeah, in a way, it kind of makes me chuckle to myself a little bit. They're like, we want to make the game more safer, but we're going to put these things on the field that may or may not hurt you.
Right. We want to make the game safer when it's convenient, but we also want to maximize our money on our investments.
So,
The pocket jet is
um,
fine.
yeah, uh, but that's why the last little bit I had. How about you? You got anything else?
Nope. All I've got is our typical little outro we do. If you got a question you want to ask on air, you should be able to find the voicemail option in the show notes. Questions on air. If you have a question that you feel more comfortable emailing, our email is after the final whistle podcast at gmail.com. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, and there's some other platforms that are a little lesser known. You can check those out on our Anchor page. But other than that, man, I'm good. We appreciate y'all tuning in.
All right. Until next week, everybody, take care.
Peace.